want to know what's been going on around here? I'll tell you what's been going on around here. Communism, that's what.
And the military will come to investigate you and take you down.
What's an Elvis? Must be a new model car. I gotta upgrade one of those.
Pox, fire up the ship. It's time for America to get a probing. Today we're taking a look at Destroy All Humans for the PS2 and Xbox. And we'll be playing those damn monkeys like a fiddle. Now before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to FOXFIRE. Be sure to check her artwork out down below. She's done an excellent job as usual. I'd also like to ask you to like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts on the game and video, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Now let's start that probing session. The original idea for the game came from Matt Harding when Microsoft rejected an idea for a family-friendly game called Oddballs, and he jokingly pitched out a game where you kill everyone and suggested the title be Destroy All Humans. This eventually escalated into being a Space Invaders sort of game, where you're tasked with harvesting Furon DNA to save the race from extinction, from humans who have DNA strands from millions of years ago, as the Furons had originally came to Earth and got busy with the locals. You know how military does with the local population. Now, as the only source of pure DNA, you must harvest as much as you can, while also enacting your plans for world domination and destruction. The story is simple, amusing, and a huge parody and satire of 50s era America. Some of the characters' thoughts that you scan are just downright hilarious. The choice for the two main characters' voice actors were also dead on. Having the voice of Invaders Zim, Richard Horvitz, and J. Grant Albrecht, who is also known for playing the End in Metal Gear Solid 3 and a bunch of other small roles. These two play off each other extremely well and are an entertaining treat the entire game. The games were developed by Pandemic Studios. You know, the developers behind the esteemed original Battlefront games for the PS2, Xbox, and PC. Too bad EA killed Pandemic like the bastards they are. So yeah, fuck you, EA. An interesting little game in this regard. It swaps between third-person shooting, disguise sneaking, and flying saucer destruction. Some missions have strict requirements to complete the mission, like you can't hit a certain chaos level, or you have to sneak the entire time. Stuff like that. The third-person shooting feels fine, with a wide variety of wacky weaponry, including an anal probe that'll fire up someone's anus and then cause their brain to explode out, giving you all of their DNA. A disintegrator gun that melts enemies into ashes and explodes vehicles, the Zap-O-Matic, a lightning gun, and more. Almost every weapon and ability that Crypto has can also be upgraded to be stronger, using the DNA points as currency. Now sometimes you'll have to do a different objective though that isn't kill everything in sight. Sometimes you have to disguise yourself just right, sneak into a secure area, learn some information, and then kill everything in sight. Sometimes you may need to hypnotize someone, kidnap them, and probe them violently. The next facet of game is the flying saucer. You'll be flying around, avoiding missiles, anti-aircraft fire barrages, and tanks, while also destroying whatever objective is in your path with your tractor beam, destructo beam, or your sonic boom weapon, which can also be a hell of a lot of fun. Another thing to do is a variety of side missions. You'll have things such as destroy X amount of cops, or women, or civilians, or maybe destroy every building in town, and you have a time limit to complete this within. Complete the task and you earn DNA points. Now you can also repeat these side objectives repeatedly for more DNA, but each time you do, the task becomes harder. Say the amount of people you have to kill rises, or the time limit becomes more strict. There's a large amount of these different objectives spread out amongst the maps, but they also also be irritatingly difficult after a certain point. The gameplay overall is pretty good and varied, with lots of silly shit to see and do. There's also a large pile of bonus unlockables within the mothership that allow you to say watch games, trailers, concept art, or other wacky weird things. I also enjoy the fact that every time you die, they justify by literally making a new clone of Crypto. It's pretty funny and it's good tying into the main point of the story. It's a humorous idea. I will say I did find some deaths to be pretty dumb though. Like I accidentally stepped into the edge of a lake and I drowned while trying to do a relay race mission within the farm area. Water being an instant death is always kind of irritating. Not exactly the prettiest or most detailed game, but it certainly is stylized and runs well. Some of the larger, more open maps just feel a little too flat and lacking for detail, which would have benefited the style it was going for to be more effective. This is actually something the sequel does a lot better in fleshing out the world. The game could also do with more model variety for the people, as you can see a lot of the same people at the same time. I also had the game crash and freeze twice, but I believe that's more due to the disc having a scratch than the game itself. Luckily the game autosaves often enough that I only had to start back from the mission where it froze, rather than say my last manual save. Well, that was a pretty long and thorough probing, but I think Destroy All Humans is still a blast to play all these years later. Wacky, imaginative, and a great satirization of 50s era America. It's pretty hard to not recommend this game, even with some of the more frustrating moments. It's still quite a blast to play, and with the faithful remake that just released, it's now easier than ever to go and play through this fun adventure again. I'm hoping they'll also give this treatment to the sequel as well, because that game was even better. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Be sure to check FOXFIRE out below as she does excellent artwork. Also be sure to support the content. I'd sincerely appreciate it. This has been Core and I'll see you next time.